What's poppin', Palaxy? Today on the Bounty Board, we talk all about Netflix's live-action Avatar series. So kick up that dang warp drive and let's yip this thing. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Guardians of the Palaxy podcast. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is MT, and with me today are my wonderful friends, Whitney Van Laningham and Tommy Bechtold, and with us, a third friend, Mr. Johnny T. What's poppin', homie?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be a temporary pal.
No,
Eggsy.
you're a permanent pal.
Permanent
you're
pal.
a permanent pal.
All right.
Blood in,
See
blood
you guys
out,
next
motherfucker.
week then. I'll be here every time.
Show up. Just do it. Show up. That's how this podcast works pretty much. Blood in, blood out. Once you're in for life. You can't get out.
Right. Tommy just showed up one day and never went away.
Yeah, that's honestly what happened. So for those of you who don't know, Mr. J2C, Johnny Two Cellos from the internet, he is a good boy, a good friend, and a good cartoon man. He is the host of Johnny Two Cellos, the YouTube channel, very successful, very cool channel, very cool boy. And he also is the host of the Cartoons That Curse podcast. I call it the Cartoons That Christ podcast because I think it's fun
Every
to
time
do.
she comes on, she tries to convert us.
I try to convert them. I fucking love going on that show. You guys have to listen to it. I also call it the Cartoons That Cinnamon Toast Crunch podcast because cartoons that Christ / cartoons that curse / cinnamon toast crunch all have the same initials, and I love it. So he's very fucking talented. You guys all need to go look at his shit. All the Palaxies in the Palaxy need to go. All the Palaxians in the Palaxy need to go look up J2C right now. I love him. He's my real life, very good, very best friend. He spoke at my wedding. And Tommy was the priest. They both had very important roles in my big old day. That's how much I love him.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm very excited. I'm glad that you asked me to come on for this episode because I have lots to say.
Bro, you got feelings about Avatar. And I
love
know
Avatar.
you have been considering starting an Avatar only channel for a while.
I did. For a long time, I thought, well, especially with Avatar Studios having like all these potential upcoming projects and the live action show coming out, I thought for years that I would maybe start a specific Avatar channel. I think at this point, because I've got a bunch of other projects in the works, I'll probably just keep it to my main channel.
Keep it to myself.
I'll probably just write it down and not tell anybody.
You're just gonna give your Avatar only channel the Coyote versus Acme treatment. Shame on you.
Oh my God.
Right.
Lost media, John.
Just delete it for tax purposes.
It's not going to be lost. They're going to leak it and it's going to be great and everyone should watch it.
Yeah, we got it. Fuck Zaslav, bitch. Fucking right in the dick.
But he might like that. Let's do.
I was gonna say that sounds kind of nice.
No, like in the dick hole. Like, you know what I mean? Like that scene from The Boys. Like the scene from The Boys, and then it goes wrong and his penis explodes. Sorry, I was picturing something very specific that I did not communicate well, and that's
you
on
haven't
me.
lost me yet. So tell me when it gets punishing.
I do think we should venture to some kind of Acme type scheme where we explode David Zaslav's dick. Let's do that.
I agree. Just sticking an Acme TNT in there, baby. Just getting it, shoving it in that
I'm
hole.
not advocating for corporate espionage, but where is Anonymous? All right, like what happened to Anonymous? Like, why are you guys not hacking?
What happened to Mr. Robot? Come on,
okay?
Yeah.
Seriously, Mr. Robot. Come on,
Get on
we
this.
need that to happen.
Hack it
for Batgirl and
shit.
for this one.
Oh, yeah. Tommy is becoming anonymous. Tom-nonymous.
The second Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot 2.0.
The Tomomist. I don't know.
I will take the Coyote movie worldwide.
Is this how Anonymous talks?
Yes.
Basically. It sounds like Homestar Runner.
And you can only see his nose. That's part of his charm.
I will hack HBOmax.com.
I will shoot a large red missile into the vas deferens of David's ass.
Pinpointed for the vas deferens. Got off the rails. We promise this is an Avatar episode.
Yeah, this is an Avatar episode. We're so sorry, everyone. We are.
But that was an excellent Mr. Robot impression. 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, no, that was fucking perfect. I loved it.
I was just gonna say Tommy's so good at characters. Tommy and I worked on a show together years ago where he would play all these crazy characters that we used VR to like animate and show on the internet. It was truly such a fun show, but oh my God, Tommy was always one of the highlights. When we did a Cats episode and where he had to play a cat person, and we didn't have a name for him, and we said, Tommy, what do you think the name of this cat is? And without even for a moment, without thinking, he just said, Big Daddy Tattletale.
Like he had that in his back pocket the entire time.
Like he was just waiting, just ready to go.
To be fair, I had just read the synopsis of the musical Cats, and one of my biggest delights was the insanity of their names. Like Rum Tum Tugger. So I was
Deuteronomy.
I was inspired by that lunacy. But yes, that was a great job. That's where Johnny and I met and fell in love.
It's true.
Johnny and I have like a couple of like just really fail-safe go-to comfort watches when we get really drunk and it's 4 a.m. We watch those old episodes and Adam Green's Aladdin. Those are the only two things we really watch. We just turn on a Tommy episode of Live from the 8th Dimension, and we just we let the vibes carry us.
Thank you.
Through the dawn.
Rest in peace. What a fun show that no one's ever heard of.
Anyways, you guys, this is an Avatar episode. So I personally, here's my little relationship with the Avatar series. I have been told over and over again, primarily by Johnny, that I have to watch Avatar. I have wanted to, I just have never had the time. I finally sat down. I binged the Netflix series this week, and in between episodes, I also just started going back and like watching the animated series so that I could like see the differences. So I'm like 3 to 6 episodes deep of the animated series, and I finished the Netflix live action. So I am but an Avatar novice, but I know that obviously Johnny and MT, you guys are more experts, and Tommy, you showed up today, and that's what matters.
The important thing is that I'm here.
Yeah.
The important thing is
Tommy also knows nothing about Avatar. We are both little baby Avatar newbies. So
let me tell you, my relationship with Avatar is I too have been bullied by my friends about watching it for years. I have never watched a single moment of the animated series, which I am now very upset about because I feel like having watched, I'll say, a sprinkling of the live action Netflix series now, I can boast that I have now fallen asleep to live action Avatar 3 different times. Three different times during my attempted binge of this show did I fall asleep during one episode and wake up several episodes later. So, according to my newly minted Netflix account that I just subscribed to finally after years of borrowing family logins, I am now my reason for getting my own Netflix was Avatar. I have completed the series according to watch time and metrics. Mentally, in terms of awareness, I've seen probably a combined 53 minutes of it. So let's
get into it. Let's go.
So if I'm a little shy this episode, it's because I want to let the Avastars, a repeat joke from last night's text chain, talk about Avatar.
The Avastars, Johnny and MT. So how much do you professionals over here really know about the Fire Nation attacks?
I'm a huge Avatar stan. So actually, funny enough, like I was told for years by the show was it came out on Nickelodeon in like 2005. So I was like a teenager when it came out. So I didn't watch it when it came out, but I had younger cousins, and my uncle would always say, "You got to watch this Avatar show. It's really good." Because he would watch it with his kids, and I was like, okay. I don't think I'm going to watch Nickelodeon. I'm 16 years old, and then
I have a girlfriend. Ever heard of one?
But then, funny enough, the Shyamalan movie was coming out. Like that was starting to come out. And I was like, you know what? I guess they're going to make a movie. I might as well check out the animated series and
my
give
God.
it a watch. Yeah.
I've seen that movie. Never mind. I'm an expert.
Oh my God.
I've seen. I went to the ArcLight Cinerama Dome opening night and paid like $30 to see The Last Airbender.
No way.
I'm so sorry.
Never mind. Sorry, folks.
I feel like your brain mentally was trying to not go through that experience again.
And we just like reactivated you like a curse word for a sleeper agent. We said Shyamalan and you suddenly remembered everything about Avatar The Last Airbender.
It's like an episode of Chuck. It was like,
but yeah, I started watching it because that movie was coming out. And then of course I didn't watch the movie until just a few years ago because I heard it was so bad and I just became obsessed with the show. Like I was like, oh, this is an incredible show. I binged all 3 seasons, became really obsessed with it. Watched Legend of Korra as it aired, was really obsessed with it. Have read pretty much all the graphic novels except for maybe some of the more recent ones. And I've even read many of the like spin-off novels, like the Kyoshi novels. I haven't gotten to the Yang Chen ones yet, but I'm very excited about those. So like I am a full-on Avatar stan. I love that world so much. I love both shows. I love the Kyoshi books. The Kyoshi books are sick. And yeah, they're great. And so yeah, I'm just a full-on. I've rewatched the show more times than I care to count, both shows, to be honest. And I'm about to rewatch it again because the one thing that this new show has done has made me go into the full Avatar state again.
Oh yeah, dog. It activated all your little tattoos, all of your head tattoos.
I always wondered like why the tattoos glow too. I'm like, what makes it so like the tattoos so special that they glow?
Probably because it's sick.
Anyway.
Yeah, because it looks sick as fuck, MT. He got the tattoo so that he would look sick as fuck when he became the Avatar, obviously.
I think I know this one from the live action show. Isn't it because he got his tattoos in a different place than the normal tattoos for the Airbenders? He got it in front of the statue of the last Airbending Avatar. Remember? Gyatso
in the show.
Got,
in the new show.
Yeah, in the new show, he got Gyatso made sure that he got him done.
I think that was just them kind of implementing some backstory into it. I don't think it has anything to do.
This bitch clocked that backstory. And if we're talking about the new live action show, I just answered something correctly. I'm going to sign off now.
No, you have to stay for the whole episode. Now that we've activated your secret airbending knowledge, you have to stay. Anyways, MT, how do you know the show?
Oh yeah, like I grew up with the show when I was a kid. Like I remember binging it, like when I was like in my early teenage years, and I really loved it. And I think I binged it again like a couple years back. But like every time I watch it, it's like the first time. I don't know why. Like it's something like happens where like I forget. I'm like, oh no, this is amazing. Like I remember all the story points again. So like I've been rewatching it slowly recently. And like obviously I binged the new show and like but yeah, I do love Avatar. I do have like a pretty good knowledge of like the entire universe. Not as much as Johnny.
Yeah, clearly like Johnny is just hardcore. Like, whoa, like way above and beyond all of us. I was like, I'm so proud that I finished the show and watched a few episodes of the cartoon.
Yes, I'm a big Toph stan. Toph is my favorite character. So I can't wait to see Toph if they get a season 2.
Yeah, I love Toph as well.
Toph's a great character. Yeah, Tommy knows Toph.
All right, dogs. Well, let's get into talking about this show. Netflix's live action Avatar. How do you feel? How does it stand up? How does it stack? Yay, nay, or eh?
I am more negative than positive, but there's things that I appreciate about it for sure. Like, there's a lot about what some of the expansion of the world I was really appreciative of as just a big fan of the franchise. Like, I think seeing a little bit more from stuff that we didn't get much of in the original show was neat. Like I loved that there's an early sequence where we get to see like all of the past avatars, which you only get little hints of in the original show. They expand we get to see a bunch of Kyoshi fighting and she's kind of this badass. So that was kind of cool. And then, as like a fan of the expanded lore, like when they bring in all the Kyoshi stuff, they directly reference her backstory from the books that was not part of the original show. Like they talk about her childhood and how they didn't know she was the Avatar for a long time and she was a servant in the house. That is literally straight from those Kyoshi books. Same with towards the end of the season when they go into Korik's backstory about the spirit world. Yes. And yes, that the face stealer stuff is from the original show, but him being in conflict with a spirit from the spirit world and trying to keep all these spirits at bay, that's from the second Kyoshi book. That's a huge part of his backstory. So like I loved seeing those things acknowledged. Like part of me was going into this being like, oh, are they going to just change everything about this? And there's a lot of things they did change that I'm not as stoked on, but like seeing them go into that kind of stuff, I was really excited about. It was just cool to hear them reference those kinds of things. But yeah, and in general, I feel like the show is a little too condensed. Like it feels like they're condensing a lot of these storylines, and I understand why they have to do that. But to me, it not only makes those stories have less of an impact than they did in the original show, but it also makes the world feel smaller to me. Like the way that they are combining, like, you know, having stories like the machinist character, Danny Pudi's character in the Omashu sequence, he was in a completely different location in one of the air temples in the original show. And so like for us to not be able to see that air temple and just condense all of these characters into one location just makes it all feel a little small. But I had a fun time watching it, even though I struggled with a lot of it. And it did, like I said, get me like just back on Avatar Fandom train. I'm like, oh, I want to go rewatch the original show and reread all these books and get back in. But yeah, so I've got a lot of thoughts.
Hop on that sky bison and dive back in, baby. That's what we're here to do. That's why we all exist.
We love to hop on Appa.
We love to hop on Appa and take a little fly, running around in the night sky.
Well, where is that from?
I just wrote it. I don't know. I
just made it up. Oh my god, it's like a parody.
You didn't know. That's amazing. You don't know Whitney's unbelievable instant lyric. Come on, she's the master of impromptu song.
I'm like a lady Weird Al.
She's Paul Simon.
Yeah.
We're the Simon and Garfunkel of
we
making
are
up
the
songs.
Simon and Garfunkel of weird songs, baby. That is the biggest compliment anyone can give me. You can call me Al.
Yeah. All right.
But no, I totally agree with you, man. Like I thought personally it was a passable show, but like a very flawed show. And like I feel like if they do make a season 2, they got to step their game up, acting wise, because like there's a couple of performances that are just like, not for me. But also like you really got to put in, like they really removed a lot of like the fun stuff that Aang did, like, you know, like him, like, you know, penguin sliding and all that stuff, and him like just being a goofy kid. Like we don't really get that. It's more of like the tortured savior role. Like it's like, oh man, like I'm so bummed out about being the Avatar. I don't want to be like, you know, that's really interesting in a core part of Aang's character, but like we need to see him have fun. Like him being a child is like super important to his character, and him being like super innocent, and him being like just, you know, just him wanting to be a kid more so than a savior. And like I don't really get that when they are forced to condense the story so tightly. It's just like, all right, we're just going from A to B and like, you know, to C, and like I just miss, you know, seeing the kids be kids, and like that's just not what we have in this series. But overall, it's fine. Like I thought it was okay, but like it's the original series just like leagues better. Like just like if it's someone's first time watching this series, I would say watch the cartoon first, then watch this. But like I just it's all right. It's fine.
Or,
I thought it was okay.
You know, Shot Chaser, watch this and then reward yourself with the cartoon. You know?
Or Shot Chaser mainlining heroin into your veins. Watch this, then watch the animated series, then watch the superior feature film by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that's the true party line right there.
Yes.
But yeah, I had a lot of those same feelings. A lot of them tied actually to the first episode of the show, especially after like, even though like I just got into Avatar after watching like just the first episode of the animated series. It was just so much less impactful in the live action that he is this like tortured like savior Avatar guy. That would have been so much more impactful if we had all of the other outside context of him being this like joyful, carefree, 10-year-old kid who, truly believed that like his people might still be alive. Like the naivete is so charming in the animated series. It's like the hopefulness, the naivete, the childhood, the childlike wonder, the penguin sliding, all of that is what makes the show so charming. And so removing that from the live action just really makes like the punch of, oh shit, like I have to save the world. I can't, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. That it doesn't hit as hard in the live action because you don't see it juxtaposed with all of those other things. And so that was very disappointing for me. I also just could not stand how much exposition was in the dialogue. Holy shit,
my
bro.
God, yeah.
Show don't tell. Oh my God. Like the dialogue was just so stunted because all of it was exposition. Things that they like showed you through emotion and through like animation and like through through the other medium was so much more satisfying because they actually showed you all that shit instead of just having Gran be like, hey, so you're the Avatar. Anyways, all you people are dead. Here's what that means. Like,
and he's like, oh, I guess I got to deal with that now.
Guess I got to fucking figure that out.
I think, to be honest, just as a purely like naive viewer, I did watch the pilot episode front to back. I have, in all earnestness, seen every second of the first few episodes. But in my opinion, just taking this in as something that you're watching, it's really hard to justify how Aang, being 100 years old, but frozen in time, and now knowing kind of nihilistically that everything he ever knew and cared about is gone, could be so easily convinced to participate. I know he's compelled, and you could argue that the fact that all of the other avatars live inside of him. Hello, but no, you know what I'm saying.
Someone call Chris Hansen from Dateline
Yeah,
NBC. Too many adults inside.
Stop it. You want to talk about why you're here? What made you pick up? Why did you pick up all those high noons? No.
Why do you have a bag full of Buzzball and some condoms?
Jesus. All right. Anyway, I'm just saying. I feel like kind of to the all of the comments you guys are saying, the acting performances. I don't want to rag on child actors.
No, of
honestly,
course not.
That's what.
Let's not give anyone the Jake Lloyd treatment on this podcast.
True.
Absolutely not. But I don't think that the poor child actors had a lot. I think it's a lot of the writing.
It's the writing, 100%. It's not
ostensibly probably done by adults, unless they outsourced it to some elementary school kids.
Maybe that explains it, because maybe the elementary school kids are like, this is the part where Gran should just tell him everything.
Right.
My Gran tells me everything.
They just wanted to go back on and get more tablet time to watch YouTube videos of Mr. Beast. Anyway, so just to put a little bow on what I'm saying, and then I'll let the experts get back into it. I think as a viewer without any knowledge, him having those experiences you guys described from the animated series would have been so much more helpful to see, to make me as a viewer believe that this kid would give a shit about being the savior of a world that he no longer knows anything about. Like everything he thought he knew about in the airbending world, in his temple with all of his friends and his teachers and
the air boys,
all those sky boys is gone now. And yet I think, Whitney, in your outline, you so expertly put it, a couple galvanizing speeches from other people, and he's like, you know what? I'm in. You
I'm
son of a
in.
gun.
You son of a bitch, I'm in. No, like, yeah, it's so, he's like, everyone except for Sokka is so easily convinced, especially in the first 2 episodes. People will literally just be like, you know what? Have you thought about it this way, though? You are everything that you have ever been, and you are connected to. What do you think? You just fell out of a coconut tree? And Aang is like, you are correct about that. You are absolutely right.
And I think because of that, poor Sokka is given the, I can't even remember, Walter White's wife's treatment. Where
Yeah, the Skylar treatment.
He sticks out like a Skylar White character where you're like, God, this guy's annoying. Because he's the only one asking any questions about what's going on.
Yeah, and arguing about shit. But it's like, but that's how people would actually react if everything about like what they knew to be true historically, emotionally, personally, like in terms of war, like if everything that you know to be true cannot, like, I'm sorry, it cannot be solved with one person saying one sentence just because it sounds like, you know, like Pinterest psychology. Like they do like one little quote, and it's like
you never played a Kingdom Hearts game, because that's basically what that entire franchise
so
is.
True,
it's like the power of friendship will guide us through. It doesn't matter about this apocalyptic darkness man.
It's Goofy carrying Sora's corpse as like they're giving someone else like or Goofy carrying Donald's corpse while Mickey goes to Sora like, if you just believe, you can do anything. Anything can happen if you just believe.
And he's like, Mickey, we need a fucking crash cart, okay?
Yeah.
We need who
Donald
knows
is coding
CPR.
out.
Donald is coding.
Yo, let's get into these episodes, like, because like I do want to talk about, like, speaking of Sokka, like his reaction to like finding Aang is just so funny. He's like, let's just leave him. Like, we don't know who this guy. Let's just leave this 12-year-old boy.
Let's just leave
the
him
biggest
here.
threat to our village. Just leave him here, because like, why? It's not our problem. I thought that was so weird. I'm like, why are you so heartless, Sokka? Like, Jesus Christ.
No, he's fully willing to abandon a bald 12-year-old on an iceberg. And it's like, bro, this is the Titanic board all over again. You can fit both you and Leo on that thing. It's big enough. Let him in your boat. Don't leave him stranded on the iceberg, homie. That's not what friends do.
I do think my biggest issue with this first episode is how streamlined it is. Makes you don't get to know any of these characters particularly well, and you don't find any reason to care about them. And like, you know, as a fan of the franchise, I care about them, but like I was watching with a friend who has never seen the animated show, and she literally said to me, like, I don't understand what these characters, like what they mean, what their motivations are, or why I should care about them. I don't care about any of that. And it's especially frustrating in Aang's case, because to me, like the big thing they change is they open with his time. In the original show, they don't do that. It's just immediately the iceberg. And so you open up before the Airbender genocide, and you tie that to the events of Aang disappearing. But like, you're going to open up in the Air Nomad temple, in the Southern Temple. Why aren't you using that opportunity to show Aang in his natural habitat, being a fun-loving kid? Like in the original show, you see him, you get flashbacks to him playing with his friends. You see all of that stuff. In this, he's sitting on a thing and he just floats down, and then they deliver a bunch of Jedi Council exposition, and then they bring him in and he says things like, I'm not the Avatar, I'm a goofy kid who likes banana cakes and playing airball. And I'm like, wait, those are the things you should be showing us.
Yeah, show us those things, dude. Because they even use exposition for his characterization, which is just insane. Like, you could easily show this stuff instead of just telling us it. I disagree. I disagree with it. I don't like the execution.
I found that really frustrating. And then they do a few interesting things with how they condense the story, but it feels like the natural ending point of the story is him escaping the ship, and then they go on to show the Southern Air Temple like part where he finds the remains of his people, and that just feels like it would be so much more impactful if it was like more of a focus. It was just like an afterthought of the episode, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we got to go here now. We got to show him this.
And the thing that was so much more impactful too about the animated series was his like hope and him being like, oh no, there's totally going to be like a bunch of people and a bunch of like sky boys flying around at the air temple.
Yep.
It's going to be great. And then he gets there and all he finds is like, his mentor's bones and a necklace and he's devastated. Where in the live action, he already knows pretty much that that's what he's going to find. And then he goes like all Avatar on it. But it's like, you already knew kind of what this was going into it, which still sucks. It obviously still sucks. But in the cartoon, he goes all Avatar on it because he is not expecting that at all. And it hits harder.
Yeah, agreed.
But speaking of that moment, like, when we first meet Momo, like, it's just, I love, like, the CG of both Appa and Momo are really great, but you can tell that they really did not want to show these two on screen. They're like, you know what? We don't want to animate these guys. Like, we did a really good job. Like, we'll give you a little bit here, a little bit there, but like, we don't get as much Appa and Momo as we do in the animated series, which is a bummer because I really love Appa and Momo's dynamic. And
especially, because they have so much personality in that show. Like, they are characters. They're just, they are so, especially Appa. And like that, it feels like he's just their vehicle in this show. And that's going to come back to bite them when they have there's important arcs where Appa, later in the show about Aang losing Appa and him getting taken away. And so like that impact isn't going to hit as hard if we don't care about this version of Appa or Aang's relationship to him.
Like, I feel like when we first, right before Aang leaves, like when he hugs Appa, like that's the most that we get from Appa because we see him cry a little bit. Like Appa can like understand him and like Appa's crying with him. I was like, oh my God, that's a nice little detail. Like, this is a really nice character development for Appa. I hope we see more. And then nothing. And then nothing more from Appa. That was his Oscar performance. He's like, all right, bye, everybody.
They're saving him. What you guys don't know is Appa's contract is insane.
Yeah.
His demands were like out of this world. He was
riderless.
He did a lot of asking the female actors to rehearse in his trailer. He was very problematic.
Like 4 interns quit before they even got their college credit.
There was a huge campaign within the people that said, "Gotta stop Appa," and
the worst part was when he tried to like admit to it and do the whole like David Letterman apology thing.
Yeah.
Like that was the weirdest part.
I haven't always been the bravest, Sky Bison. But that was nothing compared to no Momo, which was
Appa, no Momo.
Hashtag no Momo. Also, anytime I hear Momo, I just think of that weird internet meme of the duck lady or bird face lady that kills you in your sleep, and how everybody would post like pictures of that, and it would just be jump scares all night when you were doom scrolling. Anyway,
I remember
back to the show.
Yeah, we should talk about Zuko because that
casting,
Zuko and Iroh,
Zuko's
baby.
casting, 10 out of 10. That actor was so good as Zuko. Like, I'm a big fan of that, like what they did with Zuko, because I just felt like he captured Dante Basco's voice, I feel like, fairly well for for live action. And
that actor was the brother in Pen 15.
Oh, wow.
Fun fact. Yeah, I really like
Holy smokehouses.
Yeah.
You're correct about that. You didn't just say that to lie to us.
I didn't. No, that's something I know. That's a fact I know to be true.
That's a very validatable, researchable fact that I just acted like, are you, wait a second. My God, I'm part of the problem. I got to go with Appa and Momo.
How do you guys feel about how they did Zuko and Iroh's relationship in general? Like, there's a little bit of a change in their dynamic as far as the first season goes, and they've kind of expanded on their backstory a bit more. How do you like that in general, MT?
I thought that like it was handled fairly well. I feel like we do get we got that very the musical cue about like Iroh's son, like his that theme, and so like that moment was like super emotionally impactful. And like I liked like we're getting the basis of like Iroh being his true father in a way. So like I think that they did a fairly great job with that. And I really like I'm blanking on his name, the dude who plays Uncle Iroh.
He's from Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, he's also in the Mandalorian. I think he did a decent job as Uncle Iroh, but like I kind of miss the accents in the show. Like everyone just has a very strong, Americanized accent, and like I miss, like the Chinese type of like accent that like Uncle Iroh had. And like I just because it makes each region just feel unique, and like I just miss there being just more culture there. But like it's totally fine. Like no worries. But like yeah, like fantastic. I think that they did a great job with their dynamic in general.
I did too. I really thought I liked that all of the scenes between Zuko and Iroh were some of like there was still, don't get me wrong, there was still a lot of exposition in those scenes, but I did feel like out of anyone else in the show, they got the most like show don't tell about their relationship. Like you did actually feel that impact, like learning that Iroh's son died and learning that like Zuko's dad just fucking sucks and is an asshole piece of shit who burned his eye. What? That awful, just awful dad, awful parenting skills.
What do you mean? It's totally fine.
No, call CPS.
He was teaching him an important lesson.
Yeah, the important lesson that being nice is bad, and you'll get your eye burnt out if you're nice.
I mean, like we can't give these kids participation trophies.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I wish I had a dad to burn my eye.
Actually, same. I don't know what it's like to have a dad. I shouldn't be talking. Yeah, I hate that guy. And it is very clear, like, especially at the end, when he's like, your son would have been proud to have you as a father. And then they snuggle each other and it's really sweet. I do love that. I did love that moment.
I love those moments because I love these characters and I love that dynamic between them. I think my only issue with them utilizing it so much in this season is that in the show, like, that's sort of such an important aspect of Zuko's later, like, realization. Like, he retroactively realizes that he's had a father all along, and that was Iroh. And that's why, like truly the most emotional moment in the original show is in the last season. It's like after they've been separated for all this time, and Zuko thinks that Iroh has given up on him. They reconnect and he apologizes to him, and like that moment it just hits because like he's finally realized that like that is his father figure. And so like even though like I loved seeing Zuko and Iroh at Luten's funeral and him sitting there with him and being there for him, and it made me really emotional. I'm like, oh, this is like really great short-term gratification. I am concerned it might undercut the later impact of like what their connection is going to like mean later in the show. But I also feel like, the show is changing they're changing those kinds of things. So I imagine they'll have to shift the dynamic in some degree, but we'll see how they
somehow.
I mean, like that's why Azula is like there because like they very much like obviously are teasing Azula's influence on Zuko and his drive to become undishonored from his other father's eye, because like it's really just Azula just like sort of like lighting the fire under his ass and like sort of morphing his mind into like not valuing his uncle and like just valuing his father's approval more. It's just Azula just like
Azula is a straight up serial killer, you guys.
Like 100%.
She is like straight up just like the most like evil person. I'm just like, holy shit, dude! Like, go play with an American Girl doll. Like, you're scaring me. Like, I don't know. Like, please, like, do something a little bit less freaky.
Somebody doesn't have any burnt eyes from their father, and it shows.
Yeah, somebody doesn't.
But that also makes me a little concerned about how they're utilizing her, because she's not in season 1 of the original show. She is season 2 and on, and they're completely utilizing her backstory in a different way here that I feel is almost making her character more nuanced than she needs to be. You know what I mean? Like she is such a great just like evil counter to like one of the things that's great about Zuko is that he is the antagonist. He's the villain in the early days of the show, but you cheer for him against other characters. You empathize with his plight, and like ultimately that's why he, there's a lot that happens with this character over the show, and it's one of the reasons he's one of the great characters. But like you need, it almost feels like they're setting up ways that they could also do something similar with Azula. And I feel that that's not I feel like that's not useful for this.
You think she may be irredeemable after smiling while her father burns an entire tribe of like pre-teenagers or early teenagers?
Right.
Yeah.
That could be tough.
That could be a tough redemption story there. I don't know. She's kind of the like Ted Bundy of the Fire Nation. Like, Jesus.
Well, Whit, that's a great point. Speaking of Ted Bundy, we've got a great sponsor on today's show.
We do. We've got to get our sponsor on.
We've got to talk about our incredible sponsor.
This week's episode is brought to you by No Murder Pots.
Hey guys, I have great news.
What?
What is your news?
I just checked my iPhone calendar, and it turns out it's been a complete calendar year since anyone was murdered by pots in my house.
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit. What kind of product might you be using that is benefiting you this way?
If I'm hearing correctly, I switched over to No Murder Pots. Pots. Is that correct? I think it is.
Yeah, no murder
Yes.
pots.
No Murder Pots have been in my house since about a year ago, and I've got to say, I'm cooking better. I'm feeling better. I don't have the urge to kill anymore. No more demon voices are coming to me in my dreams telling me I must kill my neighbor because she's the son of Satan. None of that's happening anymore. Now it's just easy breezy mac and cheesy without any of the squeezy on the neck and easy, if you know what I'm saying.
I do know what you mean, Tommy. It sure is easier to do things like cook macaroni and cheese when you're not worried about somebody sneaking up behind you and murdering you.
Whitney, I'm so sorry. There's a knock at my door.
Oh,
Hang on
who could it
one
be?
second. Hello? You. I haven't seen you in 1 year and 1 day.
Oh.
What's that you have in your hand? No, I have children. I have children.
No! Oh my God, no! Tommy's mortal enemy finally got him. Should have been using some no murder pots.
Should have been using some no murder pots because he just got hella murdered.
R.I.P. Tommy. Oh my God, I can't believe you were murdered on camera on YouTube.com for real. This is real continuity.
This is continuity, ladies and gentlemen. We're so sorry that he got murdered. He wasn't using his murder pots clearly as instructed. But now back to some Avatar, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to talk Kyoshi. That's an Avatar who could benefit from some murder pots too.
She's a big fan of murder.
Kyoshi historically murks people. There's like a great episode in the original show where they're like trying to defend Kyoshi. Like these people are mad. They're just like, Kyoshi killed our former leader, and that's why we don't trust the Avatar. And they're trying to spend the whole episode like defending her and being like, she didn't do that. And then Kyoshi takes over Aang's body and is just like, I totally did that shit, and he deserved it.
And I
yes,
do
they
it
deserve
again.
to die, and I hope they burn in hell. That's some badass shit, man. Kyoshi don't play. Kyoshi don't play at all.
It's true. And that's one of the things that I liked them talking about with Kyoshi. So when Kyoshi goes to talk to Aang in the spirit world, I loved her bringing up the fact that like every avatar is different. Every time period demands different things of the avatar. And like, that's one of the things I love about this franchise is, yes, the avatar has to maintain balance. But like one of the things I saw when I started to watch Korra is like fans really criticizing Korra for being so different than Aang and like doing things differently than Aang. But that's what's great about this concept is like every avatar has to tackle the world's issues the way that is true to them as a human being. Aang is a pacifist raised by monks. He's going to do it differently than someone who is actually just raised to be the avatar in this really insulated place. And so I loved Kyoshi acknowledging that and explaining that, but then I also felt like it kind of got undermined by her just being like, you have to do it like this. Because like she immediately was like, you gotta take him out, Aang. You know what I mean?
You gotta do it. You gotta do it, Morty. Get in there.
So in the original show, the Aang's body is taken over by Roku's spirit in the fire temple, and that's when you get the cool like Roku just taking out people full Avatar mode. They opted to change it to Kyoshi in this one, so that Kyoshi takes over.
Oh yeah, did you guys know that Avatar Roku is actually the king of Roku City? And he's in charge of which new little features come up in Roku City each night.
Him?
That's
the
him.
guy?
He's the guy
I
in
knew it.
charge
I
of
didn't want
Roku
to
City.
assume, but like, my God.
I can't believe he's so pop culture literate.
He's so pop culture literate. Except, all right, Avatar Roku. I got one request. Put the fourth goddamn Ninja Turtle in there.
Yeah,
there's
what's the
only
deal?
3. Why is there only 3? Where's the fourth Ninja Turtle in Roku City? I've got
first thought as well.
problems with this. For a really
That's
long
amazing.
time, Johnny and I have been talking about doing a joint breakdown of everything you missed in Roku City, every detail, where we take you frame by frame through Roku City,
I do think that
pointing
would
out
pop off.
I think it
That
would
would
pop off.
probably do well.
Let us
honestly.
know in the
That's a
comments
good
below
idea.
if you want Johnny and I to joint host a everything you missed in Roku City video.
Hell yeah. What do you guys think about Kyoshi? Seeing Kyoshi? Like she's super badass. It was cool to see them.
She
like,
is super
decide to
badass.
show Kyoshi go.
Yeah, he
ham
just
on
like
some-
becomes Kyoshi. Like that
Yeah.
part was sick as hell. I did like that part.
Yeah,
thought
I
that
really
was
like
cool.
that. I like that change a lot because like it was cool seeing Kyoshi defend her people.
Yeah.
And like just I thought that was very fitting. I thought it was a good touch.
And that was
Yeah,
so much
for sure.
more convincing of like a reason why the people of the island got reinvigorated with their passion for like protecting the Avatar. That was a way better like reason than just Suki being like, but Mom, come on, we gotta protect the Avatar. And her mom being like, okay, you know what? With that one sage sentence, you just undid all of my historical and cultural biases. Thank you so much. Like
Right.
that felt more like a show don't tell to me. So I did really like that.
It was cool. I liked there's a little bit of an expansion of the lore there that wasn't explicit in the original show. Because in the original show, you see Roku's spirit take over Aang in that temple. And I liked their explanation here that like that can only the Avatar can do that with the current Avatar in their temples. And so like
Yeah.
having
Right.
Kyoshi be able to do that and then them talk to Korok about that later in the show. I thought that was cool. It's one of the pieces of lore that they expanded on that I was pretty like, oh yeah, good move. Cool.
It felt very video gamey. It's like you can only unlock this power at the shrine, so don't expect to have it all the time.
You have to get to the next shrine and do all these obstacles in order to get there to
True.
level up to the next Avatar.
I will say the one thing that I'm not super sold on is like out of the 3 previous Avatars we've seen in extended sequences, the only one I feel like has much personality is Roku. Like Roku doing the whole bit where he pretends he's this big like angry old Avatar, and then he's just like, I'm just fucking with you, dude.
I'm just fucking with you, dog. I'm not one of them fire boys. I'm a cool fire boy. I get it. I'm not the asshole fire boy. You can call me pal. He's welcome in the Palaxy anytime. Roku City is welcome in the Palaxy anytime.
Yeah, I guess I just wish I love Kyoshi as a character so much. And like granted, the original show didn't give her much personality either, so it's not like I can necessarily like say, oh, that was better done. But based on her characterization in the books, like which is something they reference, she just has a little. I feel like there's a lot more going on with that character than they let on in the shows. So I'm like, oh, I wish they had not just referenced that, but also maybe given Kyoshi a little bit more of her novel personality and less of the just like, I am the big important Avatar telling you what to do in the spirit world, you know? And Korok the same way. Korok was just like yelling the whole time.
And it was,
just angry.
Like,
man.
no offense to my girlfriend, I'm mad. He wrecked my body, I'm mad. So how do we feel about Suki? Because like that whole Sokka relationship dynamic was drastically different than the show. Like how are we feeling?
First of all, I just have to say, I said this off camera and I will say it again. Sokka is just a smooch bender. He is going on a smooch quest across all 4 nations. He is just smooching left and right. And MT mentioned when we were talking about this a second ago off camera, but in the animated series, you can actually, there's enough time between the smooches that you can feel like the impact. But in this, Sokka's just smooching every lady he comes across. Like, why is he getting so much tail? Like, how is he doing this?
Literally,
he is just a ladies' man. He was like a total, like his whole character arc, obviously, in the animated series, which I know Johnny has strong opinions on for sure. But the fact that he goes from being like this like sexist who learns how to love women, and now he's just this ladies man in the live action series is such a trip. It is such a far separation.
That is the most frustrating thing about both of those characterizations of those relationships to me in this show is like in the original show, there was so much more nuance to them. Whereas in this one, it feels like just both of the women are fully pining after Sokka with no real reason to be. And so like
they're just his little smoochy one night stands.
Yeah,
like what?
Well, the thing about like in the show, there's a few more episodes with Yue in the original show. And like the whole Yue thing is like in the original, and they also just cowards avoided the love triangle. Like there's supposed to be a little love triangle with Han there, and in this one they were like she used to be betrothed to Han, but they and like it was clearly them trying to avoid the drama that comes on Twitter when you have any kind of love triangle, which I think is cowardly.
Yeah, bring on the Twitter comments, fam. Also, yeah, no, I just love that too, where he was like, "It's okay, you go get her, Tiger." No, that is the most boring way. Yeah, you know what? Her choice is hers, and I totally respect her. She's all yours, pal. Was just it was just a boring choice, I felt.
I think so too. And also like one of the things that was fun is in the UA love triangle situation, he ends up proving himself in a lot of ways because Han is this warrior and Sokka is the one who has the experience. And so like all of the stuff that Sokka was telling Han and his boys about the Fire Nation, that was not like requested from Han in the original show. It was them saying, here's the deal with the Fire Nation, and Sokka being like, no, I just saw them. This is incorrect. Like this is incorrect information. So it like actually it's something that is Sokka proving himself versus Sokka just being like openly accepted as this like very competent person. And I think he's even proving it to himself in that situation. Like a lot of this show is about Sokka sort of being humbled and then becoming a warrior. And so like that, the Suki arc in particular frustrates me because in the original show, he comes in and he's just like, well, I'm a big, strong boy. I can't wait to show these girls what's what. And then they kick his ass and humble him.
I watched that episode. It's great.
It's great. And there's just this incredible moment where he comes back and Suki thinks he's like there for more. And he just literally is so humbled, gets on his knees and he's just like, I have so much to learn. Can you please teach me? And it's just such
and she makes him wear a dress as revenge, which is great.
Yes,
and I loved it.
Also cowardly that they abandoned, that they didn't make him wear one of the Kyoshi
let him be in drag, you cowards. To Wong Fu, thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. Come on.
So it was so frustrating to me to see that it was something that makes Sokka grow so much be used as Sokka is just this immovable object who helps Suki grow it's literally just the worst kind of subversion of that story. You completely changed the meaning in a way that I think is super detrimental and much less impactful. It really bothered me.
For both of those characters.
A lot.
No, it's real dumb. I agree. It's real dumb. They reduced him to like this guy. Like it's what you said about him, you know, coming in and just being like, oh no, I actually know all this stuff about the Fire Nation. Instead of him having to prove himself, it's basically just all like everyone just becomes a Sokka fanboy real quick in both of those situations where they're suddenly just like, oh my God, Sokka, you know everything. And then they just go after him. And then both of those women are also just like, oh my God, Sokka, this is crazy. I love you.
Yeah. And they're like,
and
being like,
he
oh,
doesn't
you're the
earn
boy
it
of
at
my
all.
dreams. Like,
I dumped this super hot guy for you. I dumped basically Johnny Tsunami for you. Like, what? Like, I've been waiting for you. I broke up preemptively with Johnny Tsunami because I have been waiting for you, Sokka. And it's just like, you broke up with Johnny Tsunami. Get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
The reason that was so impactful in the original show is because Yue hadn't broken things off with Han yet. She was betrothed to him, and that story, as we even see them expand on in the live action a little bit, everything at the Northern Water Tribe is about them kind of fighting against the strictly adhered dogmatic nature of their society. Like, oh, women can't bend. Oh, you are the princess. You are betrothed to this
Excuse me,
person.
have they not seen Bend It Like Beckham? Women can bend.
But that was so frustrating to me to see them, because like where they expand it in one place, they kind of undermine it in another place. Yue just like was very sure of herself instantly, and I'm just like, no, her whole thing is that she likes Sokka and is upset because she has all of these societal obligations that she now has to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It just removed conflict. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a good idea for your story to actively remove the conflict.
Yeah, that's not good storytelling. I don't know, man. Not in my world.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. Well, let's talk about King Bumi.
Yeah, we gotta talk about Bumi. That is one that I have strong opinions on, even as a person who does not know as much about Avatar. I watched the animated episodes and I watched the live action, obviously, and oh my god, holy shit. They did Bumi so dirty in the live action. The animated series makes sense because you see him and Aang goofing off together like as children. You see them doing like the little like minecart ride and everything. And that's like why it ultimately like makes sense when they do the minecart ride thing later. Anyways, I hated that they made it so that in this one, Bumi was kind of more sinister and evil and less wacky and old and, like just messing with his friend for the sake of messing with him. Instead, he's messing with him. He keeps accusing him of like, oh, all you want to do is play games. You don't want to take this seriously. We haven't seen Aang play like any games pretty much this whole time. We saw him like do like a little tiny like airball demonstration, but that was about it. So that part doesn't make sense. He keeps like harassing him and taunting him about these like games. And it's like, bro, you are the only one here playing games. Aang is literally like, let me go prevent a genocide. I am taking this seriously. And Bumi's like, oh, what was that? You want to play games, do you? Kill me, let me die. You're only a good friend and a good avatar if you let me die. And then he's like, no, dude, I'm not going to fucking, God, no, I'm not letting you die, dude. I don't know. I thought that character was so weird. In the cartoon, he is so charming. He's so funny. He helps. He's actually helpful. In this, I was like, you just taunted a 10-year-old about playing games for like an hour and kept him prisoner. And for what? For why? You're just a dick, dude. You're just a dick. Bumi's just a dick in this one. And in the original, he actually had depth as a character, and I liked him a lot more. So
yeah, it was frustrating because in the original, it felt like he was testing Aang, but not in a like resentful way. He was doing it because he believed in Aang and he knew Aang and because he knew Aang and the last time he saw Aang was the same age. So like he knows who that Aang is. And so it was a testament to Aang's character in the original show that Bumi ultimately was like, I trust you're going to do the right thing. And I'm not here to litigate what has happened over the last 100 years. I'm glad you're back. Like, let's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Good to see you again, old friend.
Yeah. I just feel like there's so many people in this show that like were written to like give Aang guilt about not being around, over the past 100 years. But like, I feel like if you're King Bumi and you see that Aang is the same age that you last saw him, then like you're not going to be upset.
Right.
Like something clearly happened.
Something happened, dude. Yeah, like all of these people are so mad at him, and it's like he was literally trapped in ice. He couldn't like,
and he's still 10.
He's 10 years old. Like Jesus, he didn't abandon you. He wasn't like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fuck off to the Bahamas for 100 years. He was frozen in goddamn ice with his giant sky pug. It was very sad and traumatizing, and I don't think people should be so mean to him. He's bald.
He's bald.
In the original show, he guilts himself enough about it. Like that's,
right.
And especially because in the original show, they make it so explicit that he ran away. Like he was running away from his responsibility. He like in this show, he goes out to clear his head and gets trapped in the storm. In the original, he was like, no, I don't want to be the Avatar. I am not ready for that. I'm going to leave and run away. It's the Peter Parker Uncle Ben thing. Like he feels that if he had been there, he could have done something. But Peter lets what's his face run by him and he kills Uncle Ben, and then he feels responsible for it tangentially. And so carrying that with him is a lot of his motivation for doing the right thing now, like it would be one thing if we were seeing Aang be a goofy kid, but it's like,
again,
I'm going to be the Avatar. I need to go do this thing. And you've got all these people guilting him, and like he's doing the thing.
He's doing it. Yeah. Stop yelling at him when he's trying to do the thing. He's literally trying to leave your weird, fucked up mind palace with your green rock candy shards. He's trying to get out of there to go do the right thing, and you are actively hindering him by yelling at him. But yeah, I also think that we should talk about that sizzling finale. I actually enjoyed the finale episodes. I thought that they were pretty cool. First of all, really quick insertion. I deeply enjoyed the design of the Pan's Labyrinth Guillermo del Toro monster, the face stealer.
In the spirit world? Yeah.
I was like, this fucking rules, dude. Like, this character is sick as fuck. I love the character design. It got a little old when they just kept bringing them up for stealing faces like every 2 seconds, because it was like, yeah, okay, we get it. They steal faces. It's fine. But I did really enjoy like the design of that character. I thought that it was fun. I thought it was really dumb of Aang that he was like, I'm just going to leave my friends unconscious, sort of dead, kidnapped soul bodies in the middle of the woods with a big sky pug, hope they don't die. And then he gets kidnapped. Ugh, bro, so dumb, so stupid, such a 10-year-old kid decision. However, the finale is really where the meat's at. In the finale, we meet the Moonslayer. His whole thing is he wants to kill the moon. I was laughing so hard at the live action. I'm sure that it's much more serious and much better done in the animated series, but this was literally a guy yelling at the moon, and I could not stop laughing. He was like, I'm gonna kill the moon. Step 1, gotta get my moon knife. And so he was just this old guy with a moon knife yelling at the sky, and I thought that was fucking hilarious.
General Zhao, or Admiral Zhao, I guess, is such a cool character in the series, and I like they change his characterization a bit. Like the performance from, I can't remember the guy's name, Danny something.
Is it Kenny Long?
Oh, Kenny, yeah. He gives a good performance. It's just very different than what that character is, and I feel like those big emotional, angry moon slaying moments in the original show are like they hit a little harder.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just could not stop laughing at him and his moon knife, because it was just, I don't know. It was just like, this is literally the definition of an old guy yelling at the sky. Like,
I mean, like for someone that like, for an unhinged plan, like it was like, I see where he was coming from, because like he just wanted to get rid of waterbending altogether. So like, because like the next Avatar was going to be a waterbender.
Yeah.
So like he was like, let's just get rid of waterbending. It's like, problem solved.
Right.
So like that's a smart move, but like obviously we need the moon to survive. So like he was very much just like, I like that, seeing him like so obsessed with making lateral moves like in the Fire Nation, that he was willing to just completely destroy all of nature.
Destroy the moon. Like, what?
That's basically what, it's a great allegory for like real life, because that's basically what rich people do. It's like, hey, let's destroy the planet so that we can make upward movements and like for ourselves. And like, I was like, damn, this is interesting.
I want to get promoted at work. Let me stab the moon with my moon knife. Like, bro, like, yeah, no, that really is like a really nice allegory for shitty rich people.
But yeah, I thought that that actor did a really good job as General Zhao, and like it's so funny to know that he thought he was auditioning for the blue Avatar, which is
I didn't
hilarious.
know that. That is so funny.
Yeah, he said that the sides he got it was unclear what it was for, and then when he found out it was for Avatar, he assumed James Cameron's Avatar.
Yeah.
So,
oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I really want to see James Cameron direct Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I really want to see M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: The Way of Water.
I do.
That's my goal. Nope, I want it. I want it. I want to see it.
I'm an M. Night defender. I'm glad the man exists and makes movies his way. I do not want to see him tackle Pandora or the Na'vi.
The Pandora that makes you old. That's what I want. They suddenly start entering their Na'vi bodies, and oh no, they're just getting old at this one part of Pandora, just right at the center where that big old tree is.
Okay, so I don't know why I'm doing this, but like out of 10 Oreo thin cookies, what would you rate this live action Avatar series?
I would rate it maybe a 4.8, because I can't give it a true 5 because I think that that's too generous in terms of the dialogue and the exposition. However, I can't give it lower. I don't want to actually give it lower than a 5 because I did really like the back half of the series a lot more than I liked the front half of the series. I
agree.
I thought that there was like a lot of really poignant and good emotional moments, and there was actually some like a lot better acting in the second half, I thought, because I think that the script was better again. Like I think that they got better as they went along writing the show, which is interesting. So I did not completely hate it. It's just compared to the cartoon, it's just so bad. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. It's none of the child actors' fault.
Whitney. Now you got to finish the cartoon.
No, I want to. I'm going to now. I really like it.
Hell yeah.
It's so good. How about you, Johnny?
I'm pretty much in that same pocket. I would give it 4.5 to 5, somewhere in there. There is like, I do think you're right. It got better. Like when I first started it, I felt like the acting all around was kind of rough. And usually if that happens, I think it's a matter of writing and directing more so than it is the actors. I'm definitely not here to criticize child actors, and it feels like there's more of a top-down issue.
I hate them all.
But I definitely felt like the acting got stronger as it went on. I think like my biggest issue, which we didn't really even brush on, is I just don't think bending looks remotely as cool in live action. And there's some action sequences that work, but like I think water bending in particular always feels so slow in live action. Like it
does.
And so for me, like my biggest question of this show is just like, if pretty much nothing about it improves or is even as good as the original.
Exactly. Precisely. That's exactly what I've been thinking about.
Exactly. Why are we doing it, man? I don't know.
Precisely. Exactly. Because like that's the main reason why we watch live action stuff. It's like, oh man, how is it going to look badass in real life? And like, it just doesn't translate very well from the Avatar show to this. And like, you might as well just watch the original series, because like you're just going to get a much cooler experience that way.
Case in point, all of the hairlines on this show and the facial hair are so atrocious. I am so sorry, but Uncle Iroh's hairline is whack. And Larry, I'm on DuckTales Pootie. His beard, I'm sorry. His beard is
all the
horrible.
wigs are so weird.
Horrible.
Like, I don't
That
know.
is
It
the
just
most
felt
horrible beard I've ever seen because they tried to make it look like the cartoons, and it's like, bro, that is not what we don't want it to look like that. We want it to look better than that. Like, please stop. Oh god, the
Right.
facial hair was just next level.
How about you, MT? What's your Oreo thin rating?
Yeah.
I would probably give it about the same, like about like a 4.5 to 5 out of 10. Like, it wasn't terrible. Obviously, it wasn't, the M. Night Shyamalan adaptation, but like, it's just like you said, basically, it's like if you're gonna make something an adaptation, you gotta like raise the bar or like at least meet where the original was at. And I just feel like from acting to from to action to like in the story, like I just feel like there's so much lacking from the original source material that like if they make a season 2, like they cannot do the same thing that they did in season 1. Like they have to film in real locations. Like that's so important. Like because it just feels like it's filmed in the studio. Because the Avatar is just a huge, beautiful world, and like I just want to see more of that rather than like such static studio shots. But anyway, it just all in all, just like you got to step your game up, like in terms of just like presentation in general.
If I may give a one-sentence piece of sage advice that I hope instantly changes your mind, it's make things a little more like the back half, a little less like the front half of that season, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Get the Fire Nation on it. Light that Fire Nation under your asses and make it more like the back half of season 1.
Yes, and like better writing, less exposition-y type of
so much less
weird
exposition.
stilted,
you don't need to say everything. You just don't.
Yeah.
You can show things too. It's okay. It's okay. Be brave.
We want to see it. Like you have so much money, Netflix. You're charging people $1 million per month.
You have so
Please.
much of my money. You have so much of my money.
Film outside.
Film outside. Go touch grass, Netflix.
Touch grass, Netflix CEO. Jesus Christ.
Make your actors touch grass for the love of God. And then film it.
I want to see it. I want to see film.
I want to see it. Make a shitty reality show out of it that has 6 episodes.
But yeah, do you guys have any like final thoughts about like the show and series and all?
I mean, like I'm gonna watch every episode they make of it, even though I don't love it. Like
I will watch every episode of this shitty show. Let's do it. Let's go.
And I love this franchise too much not to just be curious about how they adapt things and how they change things. And at the very least, watching this reaffirmed why I love the original. And whether that's maybe a backhanded compliment because it's because it's about how goddamn good the original is. But I am like truly I'm working on a huge video right now that's unrelated, but when I'm done with that project, I can feel myself falling back into an Avatar hole where I'm going to rewatch both shows. I'm going to reread all the books and read the books I haven't read and see what graphic novels I missed on the last couple of years and just like get excited. Cause the other thing is Avatar Studios is working on stuff. And I believe we're getting a show next year. They haven't announced it, but all the rumblings I've heard are that we'll have a new show next year. I think the movie might get delayed, but I think the show, we're going to get a new show. And I just want more in that world so badly. So
yes. Yeah. Such a great universe. I freaking love it. 10 out of 10.
My final thought on the show has nothing to do with the actual show. And it is just a fun fact that I forgot to mention earlier, which is that everyone in this episode of the Palaxy podcast separately and jointly agreed that the font that I used for Avatar The Last Airbender in my outline is better than the font that the show used. That is a real thing that Johnny Cuccello said to me 3 times. Yeah, Alexa, please screenshot my outline. It's in Palaxy 16, the folder. I used a very special font and everyone loved it. And I need our Palaxians to know that I'm the best at font. Thank you. I'm the Avatar font, bitches.
Yes, literally a better font than the actual show. No one does Google Drive fonts better than Whitney Van Laningham. I'll tell you that much.
Hell fucking yeah. What are your final thoughts, MT?
I mean, basically just like, I thought it was great. I mean, I thought it was all right, but like, I really want them to do better. And like, I think they really got to step their game up. But hopefully they'll see all these reviews and like, they'll light that fire into their ass to do a little bit better. But yeah, no, I think, kid actors did the best job that they could.
With the dialogue they had.
Yeah, so Good on you, kiddos. But Johnny, you did mention that you're working on a big video. Where can people find that video when it's out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's weird. It's gonna be confusing. I have a YouTube channel, but I also started a second YouTube channel.
Whoa.
Ooh.
What a boy.
I know. So you can find me at Johnny Two Cellos. That's where most of my content is. At this point, though, it's looking like this giant video I'm working on will be on my second channel, which
Okay.
is
Ooh.
also called Johnny Two Cellos. I know it's confusing. The second one is just all lowercase, Johnny Two Cellos. It's gonna
That's
be more
actually not
face cam.
confusing because it's the same name. If it was called
Right.
like
That's what
Mr.
I said.
Schmeckledorf's Cold Sore Emporium, it would be way more confusing to me personally.
So that video will hopefully be out around the time of the Oscars. I'm covering every movie ever nominated for Best Animated Feature in one massive video.
Oh shit.
It's going to be the biggest video I've
he's
ever made.
nuts.
I
Dude,
am nuts.
Damn.
I've been
He's
making it
nuts.
I've been making it for a couple months now. I'm like, I've gotten a ton written. I've gotten about an hour and a half edited, but it's gonna be very long.
That's a big boy
That should do really
video.
well, I feel.
I
Big
hope so
fat
too.
boy.
I think it'll do well. I think the allure of why did he do that will draw a lot of people in, and then, but I really want to use it as an opportunity to talk about the Academy's tendencies in regards to how it treats animation, what it tends to nominate, the ones that it tends to snub, why it doesn't tend to give these films respect in any other categories. So hopefully bring light to some of the nominations that people don't really talk about or know about because the Disneys and Pixars get all the attention. Yeah, I think it's going to be a cool video. I'm really, really, really happy with how it's turning out so far, but I have a lot of work to do in the next 2 weeks. So, yeah.
Dude, you are such a good cartoon man. We are so happy and so lucky that you came on the show today.
Thank
Johnny,
you.
we love you.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much. You are absolutely a member of the Palaxy for life.
Yeah,
you can honestly,
gang.
honestly, you have, that we meet on Zencaster once a week. Just show up if you want. Just drop on and just pop on by. Just pop on by and be like, let's talk Avatar again. And we'll be like, we're actually talking about Deadpool. And you'll be like, no, we're not.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was so much fun. I'm really glad to finally be on the pod. And I will definitely be using my Palaxy membership all of the time.
Abuse it.
Yes,
abuse the membership card. There's a 10% discount, obviously, on Murder Pots this week. So be sure to use that too.
Great.
Oh my God, we have to go to Tommy's funeral. It's going to be so sad. Anyway.
Oh God. R.I.P. Fallen sweet angel.
But yes, thank you guys for tuning in and watching this Palaxy show. We love you guys so much. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
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 Mwah, 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 mwah. Keep that air bending, boys. Keep it bending.
Smooch benders.
Smooch benders. Mwah, 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 mwah.
What's that? Kill them all?